Well, we're starting a new episode here in this adventure of gleaning my grapes and turning them into wine. Stay tuned. It's going to take several months for this project. We'll be right back. Hello, welcome back to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. I planted this vineyard, about 8 years ago. These grapes are Catawba grapes. I originally ordered 3 types of grapes, Catawba, Niagara, and Concord. The Concord died, so I'd like to replace the Concord and put it along the back fence line. And also some seedless varieties. These are seeded. They have seeds in them, which these make a really good wine. This will be my 3rd year of turning these grapes into wine. So I got some new equipment this year. I got these food grade buckets for a change. I'll be harvesting the grapes and processing them in the food grade buckets. I also have a fruit crusher that I ordered from Amazon. I'll go ahead and leave links down below on everything that I'm using throughout this show. And I also have a fruit press, so you guys can be able to get those and if you're going to want to do grapes, harvest them. Now down here on the gate, on the other end of my yard, I have Niagara grapes, because the Niagara grapes are white grapes. These grapes are red grapes, and then the Concords that died were blue grapes. So I was feeling patriotic. I wanted to grow red, white, and blue grapes. So let's get busy and try harvest all these grapes. I have my garden pinking shears here that I will be pulling the grapes from the vine. If I can find the part that needs to be cut. This is the best grape harvest I have ever had. Look at, isn't that beautiful? It's just going to be very slow and methodical for me to harvest my grapes. I'm in no hurry. I'm retired. This is my farm. And I'm just enjoying life. And I'm going to enjoy my harvest and also the fruits of my harvest. Now I've got 2 rows of grapes that I've trained. They got upper lower level and the lower level. So I've got a lot of grapes that produced out of this. I don't know how much wine I'm going to end up with, but it's not the quantity I'm looking for, it's the quality. I'll put that over there and feed it to the goats and the rabbits, because pregnant goats and pregnant rabbits, those grape leaves are really beneficial for their need when they're pregnant. Some of these I'm going to have to attack from the other side, because I pruned my grapes back twice this year, and for the sole purpose of exposing the grapes and getting the energy to go to the grapes instead of to the vines. And this year I managed to grow my vines out all the way along that. So next year I anticipate even a greater harvest. We'll see. So it's just really pleasant to be out here this September morning. Very enjoyable. I have never grown clusters like this before, this big. And I know it's primarily because I thinned the vines down. I just kept it open and aerated so the sun will get to them. So this bucket is full. I'm ready for my second bucket. Now this is considered a table wine, a table grape. So I've successfully made a rosé 2 years ago using these grapes. And then last year I didn't add sugar and it came out a little dry, which is fine because you can make your wine as sweet or as dry as you want it. So I've been studying the winemaking process and also going to the vineyards and questioning the vintners. I drive by a couple of vineyards when I go to town, and then orchards, and then there, one's a very famous vineyard, and then the orchards are brand new orchards. Very famous orchard from a very famous company. That company is Harry and David. Yes, they market their stuff all over the world. They're headquartered down in the valley down there in Medford, Oregon. And it's kind of cool because I have their store, their country store available to go shop at. And they sell their wine, and I'm friends with a gal who owns a wine processor that actually makes the wine for Harry and David. I actually produced a movie that was filmed down there at their tasting room. We filmed a movie down there, and yeah. My goodness, the grapes this year are just so good quality. We didn't have the fires this year that we had in the past. This year it got really close. We've had a couple of fires really close to us. The closest one was half a mile away. Yep, that way. And it was somebody's house that burnt down. And then I went and fought a fire that was at my friend's place, and it was a mile down the road, or 3/4 of a mile down the road. So the smoke, the lack of smoke, didn't affect the quality of my grapes this year. Plus, my tending my grapevines also, I think, played a factor. Okay, I got to work the other side. And this is just the top row I'm getting. Just the top row. Yeah, I wanted to get this done today because they forecast thunderstorms. So it's a little bit overcast, so I'm not exposed to the sun too much out here, which is just fine with me. I got another appointment with the cancer doctor coming up in December, And I just don't want to cause problems, more problems that I already have. So this is just the tops. The top row that I'm gleaning from, that's it. The bottom row, I'll have to come back because my second bucket is filling up quick. My friend, who is a screen actor, she's actually very famous, Marlon Mason, she's the one that starred as Elvis Presley's leading lady in the movie The Trouble with Girls. She was asking if I had a bottle of wine left from my vintage from last year, and sadly I did not. So I'm going to make a couple of bottles just for her. And then my friend Ray and his wife, they get some. So my second bucket filled. And I only have 3 of these buckets. So I will have to destem these and come out later and use an empty bucket, because I think once I destem these, they'll all fit in one bucket, I think. Man, I might have to order some new jars and actually order some big demijohns. Because I think with this batch, I want to, I think I'll do some in oak barrels. Let them age in oak barrels to get that oak flavor. Just to try something different, perfect my winemaking skills. It's okay. Wine is good. Don't forsake a little wine for the stomach's sake. But at the same token, don't become a wine bibber. And I do enjoy wine, but not that much. It's causes, well, the wine with the sulfates in them doesn't do too well with me. Okay, where is this one going? Sometimes the grapes become so tangled you just have to cut everything. That's okay. You know what, I'm going to throw this over the fence for the deer. They've been staring at this grapevine for a long time. So I'll give them some leaves to enjoy. I don't want to do a vineyard any bigger than this. I don't need to. Not if it's just wine I'm doing myself, because I'm no intentions of going commercial. Okay, I'm going to meet you guys in the house when I destem this. And then we'll soak it in Camden, and then that'll be overnight, and then we'll start another show. I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, I'm here in the office. I'm going to go ahead and sit down and destem these. I got 3 5-gallon buckets full, and then I'll crush them. I'll take you guys when I get these all destemmed. Well, join you guys back with me when I begin crushing these into juice and pulp, and then we'll start the process. I still got to do the Camden tablets though. Yeah, let me do the Candem tablets first, drain that, and then we'll crush them. So I gotta get these destemmed. So I ended up with this much grapes after I got them all destemmed. We'll go ahead and bring them in the kitchen, set them out, and I've got to rinse the grapes. They recommend you can rinse the grapes in like a tablespoon of baking soda and some water just to get some stuff off of there. And I soak my grapes for several hours to make sure if there's any insects in there, they're gonna die. So I just rinse and wash my grapes and then drain them. Once the grapes are drained, I'll go ahead and clean out a bucket and disinfect and sanitize all of my products. I have this big tote. I need the big tote because it's big enough to handle what I need to sanitize, because you got to be careful not to introduce harmful bacteria to your potion, your grapes. I purchased 3 food grade buckets for fermenting with lids, and I'll leave a link down below for ordering those. And this is the product that I purchased, Star San. It disinfects it. I'm only using 2 ounces in this volume of water. So once I get it filled with water, it's pretty big, I'll go ahead and soak all of the pieces I need. Another product I purchased was this fruit crusher. I purchased it from Amazon. I'll go ahead and leave a link down below for that. And it's easy to assemble, but I wanted to make sure it's disinfected before I use it for grapes. The hopper, the grinder unit, this is it. This is what it is. So once I get that all disinfected, then I'll go ahead and put it on top of my buckets. Once they're on top of the buckets, I'll go ahead and disperse the grapes. I'll fill the hopper with the grapes and start processing these grapes into the buckets. Now each bucket has been sanitized as I use them, because I only had 3 buckets. And then the third thing was this one of my stock pots. This is what I'm using also, so it leaves me a free bucket to be able to sanitize and then fill. Once another bucket's emptied, I can sanitize that and then go on and move forward. So once I'm done with grinding up or squishing all of the grapes, I'm going to go ahead and take a fork and scrape as much residue off these bars as possible. The hopper unclips right out of there real easily. I'm going to go ahead and wash the hopper and sanitize it in the bucket I have prepared over here by the sink. And then the main piece, the manufacturer Vivor recommends just take it out and take the residue off with pressure water. So I just have enough pressure in my water hose, I can just wash it off out here in the backyard. Once I'm confident I've got most of the residue off of it, or all the residue, I'll go ahead and bring it in, wash it up, and re-sanitize it. And then I'm done with it. So I'm going to go ahead and put it away for another day. You can use this thing for apples, any kind of fruit that is not a stone fruit. You could, unless you take the stones out, yeah. And this works out great. Once all the grapes are in there, I'm going to go ahead and just equal the parts out between the 3 buckets, but I also need to check the specific gravity from my hydrometer. I'll go ahead and leave a link down below if you guys don't have a hydrometer to be able to get use the hydrometer. So what you do is you take some juice. I use my sieve to separate to get below the skins, and then scoop out enough juice to fill into my little container here that comes with the set. I put my hydrometer in there. Now be sure to spin the hydrometer so you knock off any bubbles. You might have some bubbles attached to the outside of the hydrometer when you get it in there, and it might give you a false reading. What we're looking for is a Brix of around 30, and it looks like my Brix is right around 30. Now that's no need to add any sugar at this time, because Brix of 30 is an average. It's a common natural sugar content in grape juice, just freshly ground grapes. Once I've determined I don't need to add any sugar to bring the sugar level up, that will determine the alcohol content you later end up with. We'll have to measure the specific gravity again with the hydrometer in a future process. Now, this process of making grapes takes a long time. I have to add Camden tablets. The Camden will destroy any harmful bacteria that's on the skins of the grapes. And how I do that is I take 1 Camden tablet per gallon of product you're producing. You crush it, and then you just sprinkle it over the surface, and then you put your lid on. And that's when we leave it for 24 hours. Now we've come to another day. I know I'm wearing the same shirt because when you're a filmmaker, you kind of, I personally like to use continuity. So I just wear the same stuff, but I take it off as soon as I'm filming that segment, just for filmmaking purposes only. I'm not wearing the same unwashed shirt 4 days in a row. No, I only wear it for about an hour while I'm filming and then move on. Anyway, let's take a look at what we've got here. This has been sitting for 24 hours. Yes. Now we're going to push that must down on all the buckets and stir. Now that Camden that I sprinkled over there, it'll kill all the harmful bacteria, like I said earlier. And once I'm assured it's killed, we're going to go ahead. Okay, I'm going to boil some water on the stove, just a saucepan of water. So I've got 3 5-gallon buckets. I got to make equal parts. And now is the time to mix the yeast. So to this boiling water, I'm going to put it in my jar and add a couple of tablespoons of sugar. And once the sugar is added, I'm going to just let it dissolve and cool down to room temperature. Now I have situated out here 3 separate containers. Since I don't have cling wrap, I'm just using these. And I'm going to partition this sugar water, it's room temperature now, in equal parts in each container. Basically a 1/2 cup in each container. Now this is the yeast blend I'm using. I'll go ahead and leave a link down below so you guys can purchase this type of yeast blend. So I'm going to go ahead and read the instructions, and the instructions say use 1 packet per 5 gallons. So that's why I got them in 3 equal parts, because I've got the buckets equal. We're going to pour the yeast in there, stir it in, and do the same with all of them. The sugar is what feeds the yeast and gets it started. And then we're going to cover and let sit and rest for an hour before we add it to the mix, the buckets. So in an hour I'll be back and we'll add the yeast to each bucket. And then I got something further to explain to you guys. Okay, we're back and the yeast has done its thing. And I made a mess of my shirt because I'm in the middle of cooking. I'm cooking up some ground beef that I got. We're making spaghetti for dinner tonight. And I got a couple of chickens in the crock pot. We're going to be putting those away for freezer meals. But anyway, let's get the wine going. This is set for an hour, a little over an hour, and there's what it looks like when it ferments or when the yeast gets activated. So all I'm going to do is mix this in right on top, and this starts the fermenting process, and stir that in. And I'm going to do the same process with the rest of these. Now I'll bring you guys back in 24 hours and we'll look at the progress of the fermentation because now it's starting. So in 24 hours we should start seeing bubbling because of the fermentation, taking the sugars, turning into alcohol and releasing a gas. We should also hear a little bit of it. And then that must, all the solids will float to the top. So we got to push those down daily. So we're going to do this every day for a week. I understand the longer you let your juice soak with the skins, the darker the red is going to be on the wine. Yes, so we're just going to sit back, let this ferment overnight. And for you guys, we'll just be a moment, but we'll be back tomorrow for this. I'm going to wash my shirt too. Okay, this is the second day of the primary fermentation. These are my fermentation buckets. I forgot to tell you guys what these are. So there's a special process. I let them ferment 24 hours, but the must rises. So we got to push that must down, stir it a little bit, and hopefully you can hear and see some of the fermentation that's going on already. Here's the first bucket. Doesn't that look lovely? Look at all the bubbles. That is highly indicative of a lot of fermentation going on. So we got to push the must down and make sure that that is all continues to ferment. I'm going to ferment it for a week. Because I want the color of the wine and the juices to be able to be nice and red. So that's why I'm leaving it in primary fermentation for 1 week only. And then after that week, we'll go ahead and place this stuff into another container. We'll cover that when we get to that. But I'm going to do this for 7 days. And I'll be back. I got to do it every day for 7 days. And I will be back in 7 days. And let you guys know what we're going to do in the next step. So stay tuned for that. We'll be right back. I mean, for you guys, it's a video second. Okay, the grape skins and the juice have been in these buckets with fermenting for 6 days. This is the 6th day, and every day I come out and I press the skins down. And you can tell this is all we do. Press it down once a day, every day for 6 days. And you see all that bubble? That is primary fermentation. So we don't have to do this anymore. What we're going to do, what I'm going to do, is we've got to take the skins out and press the juice out of the skins. So what I did is I went online and I purchased a little, it's a little juicer because I do small quantities, so I don't need anything big size, commercial size. I'm going to try to get about 9 gallons of, of juice, totally wine produced. So we've got to clean this up, and then I've got my wrapping wand. We've got to clean that up. I'll go ahead and leave links down below so you guys can purchase these. I got my hydrometer right here, and then I've got a bucket or a pitcher with some Camden tablets because I'm going to have to clean out this brand new carboy that I just got. We'll see that in a minute. Now, right now, I've got about a ½ ounce of star sand. I'm going to pour it in here because I've got to clean, disinfect all these products. Since this just came from the factory, I don't know what cooties are on it, but we're producing wine, and we've got to keep it as sanitary as possible without introducing any harmful bacteria. But first, I'm just going to clean this. Because this is going to hold some juice, and I'm going to dump it back in. I'm going to set my racking wand down in here and get the hose, get all this stuff on the inside. Because I have got to make sure I get this clean. Hang it on the cupboard for right now. Get 1 Camden tablet. Drop it in there and smash it. I'm going to fill this bucket up and set this aside. I got to sanitize these. This is the tube that goes on here. And this is the bag from which the skins go into when we get it into the press. And I'm gonna sanitize that because that comes in contact with the grape skin. That's it. That's all we need to sanitize. The next thing is to sanitize my 9-gallon carboy. And this is what the Camden tablet's for. We're just gonna pour that in there. And this sanitizes the inside of this jug. And this is where the grapes are going to sit, or the juice is going to sit for 6 months. So we're going to get ready and rack the wine, the juice, out of those primary fermentation buckets and dump them in here. This is the secondary fermentation, and this sets for 6 months with a bubbler on it. Okay, here's, take this humongous brush, take my carboy and wash it around, make sure all the inside surfaces are covered and they're getting sanitized. Okay, now set it down here. This bottle is lighter than it looks. Okay, now comes the fun part. I've got to take the skins and I'm going to put them in this big bowl here. I got this at the thrift store. I got 2 of them, so they really come in handy. Now that I got all the skins out, I'm going to go ahead and rack the juice into the carboy with my racking wand. Now this got a little tip on it to prevent it from touching all the way to the bottom. It'll eliminate the need from having to take out all of the sediment. Yeah, it's a lot of sediment in there. So when it sits in that carboy down there over 6 months, the rest of the sediment will settle to the bottom and we'll rack it into wine bottles in 6 months. But right now, I've got to set up and start pressing grape skins. Okay, this is the first time doing this, so I've got to load this bag up with grapes. Okay, put that in there. First time ever. Okay, take this off. And there's the pressed skins. And I have an empty bucket down here. And they will go out in the compost. And then I repeat the step over and over and over again. I got 2 of these big bowls. I'm glad I got both. Full of the skins. And we're going to be pressing all of these and salvaging as much juice as possible. Put that right in there. Okay. Okay, this is we're getting to the bottom of all the grapes, the grape skins. I think this is the last time I'll press. Remove the grape skins. You look at, we got a 5-gallon bucket full of skins that we pressed. Okay, I'm gonna put this over here because I gotta wash this up and put this basket in here because I want to sieve out the skins and seeds from this juice. I got exactly 5 gallons of just skins that are going into the compost. And this is how much juice we racked out of the skins, or squeezed out of the skins. Now we just gotta, I gotta do a hydrometer reading. Yeah, there's a line it goes to. That's the line. Now this is going to show us how much alcohol content is in here and if I have to add any sugar. Okay, wow. I'm right up to this gray line. It's right at 1 on the Brix scale. Beer. It's got beer alcohol in it. Table wine. I do need to add sugar. Yes. I gotta figure out how much sugar I need to add. Okay, I'm gonna do a taste test at this point. See how cloudy it is? Yeah. So when it sits in that when it sits in the carboy, it's going to settle and it'll be nice and clear when we do the final racking out of the carboy into the wine bottles. It's got good flavor, but it's just it needs a higher alcohol content for a table wine. So, I gotta rack this out, put it in the carboy. So I've already done 5 gallons of juice just from the juice collected off the 3 buckets. And then this is probably 3 gallons. 5, 6, 7. And this is a 9-gallon carboy. So that is perfect. I've got a gallon of sugar back here I can add to it. Okay, we're done racking. And Yeah, it's going to be very interesting for the rest of it. I've got to get some sugar in there, and I've also got to put the bubbler on it. Okay, this is a bubbler that fits that carboy. It came with the carboy. Just put some water in there, pop that on there, and we'll hopefully be able to see some bubbling. There. Tuck that away, and that's where it'll sit for 6 months. Well, that's it on this segment. Be back in 6 months, and we'll finish this up by racking it into the bottles, getting them corked and labeled. Yes, I've got to determine how many bottles I need to order. I think this is like 40 bottles worth. Yeah. We'll be back. We've only been a month of letting the wine set, but I got a sample bottle down here that I set aside that I wanted to do a taste test, because down here in my carboy, I have it set in a nice dark place that is room temperature. That's where we have to set it for 6 months. Now, the reason why I'm doing my wine for 6 months is I'm aging it naturally. Some people get wine a lot quicker from their grapes because they add the nitrates, and I don't want to add nitrates because wine with nitrates just gives me a really bad headache. And the first batch of wine I ever did, I did it naturally. It came out beautiful. It was a nice rosé. So I'm going to go ahead and do a sample of this. And while we're doing that, check out the carboy down here. It's got the bubbler on top. And if you notice, there's a beginning of a stockpile of material that I'm collecting little bit by little bit, because we're going to start, and hopefully before the end of the winter, have a complete kitchen remodel or upgrade on a budget, an extremely tight budget, because right now we got hit big time this past year with a bunch of costs, very expensive costs, and we're just like, we're financially embarrassed, just put it that way. Anyway, I have my wine glasses stashed over here in this corner curio. My wife wanted a curio for her birthday, so I bought her one, and this worked out perfect for storing our wine glasses in. We'll use this one down here. Now, this isn't bottled yet. I am going to be racking from the carboy down below into regular bottles with labels. But I'm just going to do a taste test right here. Just that much. Now, there's a little bit of floaties on the top of it. I'm not really concerned about that because this has only been sitting for 1 month. Over the 6-month period, all the solids settle to the bottom, and that's why we rack it into bottles, because the 6 months will also add to the clarity of the wine. And right now, it's just got a little bit of cloudiness to it, but I'm more after the taste right now. And in 6 months, when I do another video, we'll revisit this, but let's do a taste. Okay, it's sweet. It's like a rosé. It's exactly what I wanted, but we'll see how it holds it, and I can really get the alcohol in there. I don't know what the alcohol content in it is yet, because I didn't do a hydrometer test on this. I might do a hydrometer test on it probably in another month as it ages, but right now it's got to set till March. I won't be racking it into bottles until March, and this is the end of October. Salud. Yep. Good flavor. Don't like the clarity. Like I said, you need more time, but that concludes this episode on making homemade wine from grapes that I grew. These were Catawba grapes that I used, harvested, and made into wine without the sulfates. Yeah. Well, I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. This is Pine Meadows Hobby Farm, or a frugal homestead tucked high in the Cascade Ranges of the Pacific Northwest. Experiencing new adventures. This is actually my third time of rendering my grapes into wine. I didn't do a video last year of the wine, but the first year I did, and then this year I did. And it seems like it's turning out okay. Stay tuned to more videos. You could do that by subscribing, clicking that bell icon. That'll alert you to new videos as I upload them. Hey, give us a thumbs up. Share my videos on your social media platforms. Helps us out. Remember, be safe. Always be kind. We'll see you guys in my next adventure. Oh, one adventure after another. Bye-bye now. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. This is Pine Meadows Hobby Farm Off the Beaten Path in the Garden Series with Marlon Mason. Please stay tuned to more videos. You could do that by subscribing, clicking that bell icon. That'll alert you to new videos as I upload them. Give us a thumbs up. Click that share button. Sharing my videos on your social media platforms really helps out the show. Be safe. Always be kind. We'll see you guys in my next adventure.
Peace.
Bye-bye now. Excellent
Now,
interview.
I don't know how far, because at one point I leaned back. Talk.